Okay, welcome back to today's verdict. I'm your host and trial attorney, David Lesch. We have with us today Councilmember Julie Menin to talk all things child care. Councilmember, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to be with you.
Oh, it's our pleasure. So way back when we had our child, my wife is a dentist. She had to go back to work. It was very difficult. It's tough to find child care, and we had the means to do so. But that's not always the case for many people in this city. Am I correct? It's not so easy to get somebody to help you take care of your child. And it's the choice between either going back to work or staying home and taking care of the child. Am I correct?
Well, that's exactly right. I'm a mother of four, and so I can personally attest to this. Child care is a problem across New York City. Right now, on average, it is costing parents over $18,000 a year for childcare. And that's if you can even find childcare in your neighborhood, because we've got childcare deserts all over the city of New York. Sadly, we saw that last year, over 375,000 parents left the workforce or downsized their career because of lack of affordable, accessible childcare.
Well, what age are we talking about in terms of the child? Are we talking about 0 to 3, 1 to 4? Where would you put it?
0 to 3 is where the real problem exists, because that is where the city does not have a lot of programs and resources to help parents. We, of course, have 3K and pre-K, but if you're the parent of a 0 to 3-year-old, there are very, very few options. Now, with that said, childcare is a challenge even after age 3, of course, but where we're really trying to first and foremost focus our activities are on that 0 to 3 timeframe.
So let's tell the viewers how you went about, very successfully, I might add, getting those 5 bills signed by the mayor. Talk to us a little bit about it.
So I started working on this on day one. On January 1st, I put in legislative requests for a universal child care package and started meeting with advocates and providers and parents all across the city to work on these bills. These 5 bills get us to universal child care. Basically, what they do is they create a permanent advisory board that is tasked with implementing universal child care. And the other bills focus on the supply issue, because right now we've lost over 1,400 child care providers, which is actually what's created these child care deserts all around the city.
Why do you think we've lost these providers?
So we've lost them because they're struggling, and they're struggling because the City Department of Education oftentimes takes years to pay providers. There's a whole issue around late payment. There's also an issue around criminal background checks because, and let me be clear, I'm in no way saying we should not be doing the criminal background checks. Of course, you want to make sure that the people who are caring for your children have passed these checks, but it's taking the Department of Education sometimes up to a year to do a routine background check. So that delays the opening of new childcare facilities or even the operating of the existing ones. So there are all sorts of problems within the system. And so 2 of my bills are meant to address that. One bill provides grants to struggling providers so that we're helping to support them and make sure that more of them do not close. And another grant encourages the opening of new childcare centers because it basically plugs into a state tax incentive of up to $225,000 to open up new childcare centers. So this is going to allow us to build childcare centers in these childcare deserts all around the city. And then I have 2 other bills that provide an electronic database of every single childcare provider.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. That seems to be a creation of like a Marshall Plan for Mom's Task Force, and basically you're combining the department, the New York City Department of Health and mental hygiene with the City Department of Information Technology and Telecommunications, right?
Well, I want to just clarify that actually is not by my bill. The Marshall Plan for Moms is my colleague, Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez's bill, and her bill is basically a task force to focus on issues that are affecting working mothers. So that bill that you're talking about is her bill, and it's a part of the whole universal child care package, but it's a different bill.
It's a different bill. Okay, because I know getting the word out to the new mothers to find out where the locations are and how you can sign up, that's a big deal, because it's one thing just to get the new centers built and have staffing. It's another thing trying to get a young mother or parent to be able to understand where to navigate and where to find the
Yes.
centers. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
this is so true. So I do have two other bills in the package that do address that. One of my bills provides the first ever fully comprehensive electronic database of every single childcare provider in the city. What languages are spoken? Are they operated out of someone's home, or is it a freestanding facility? What are the hours of operation? What services are provided? And then I have another bill that creates a subsidy portal so that parents and caregivers can quickly assess what type of federal, state, and city subsidies they qualify for. Because you're exactly right, that has been one of the problems. It's a complete bureaucratic maze, and it's so confusing for parents and caregivers to find out, can they even qualify for these subsidies? If so, how do they do so? And the portal will have all the forms necessary to apply for those relevant subsidies.
It seems fairly clear cut, but there must be pushback somewhere. Where are you getting the resistance from?
Well, we actually didn't have resistance. I had over 40 co-sponsors to my universal childcare bill. And so it had tremendous support. The mayor was very supportive. The administration testified in favor of it. The speaker has been incredibly supportive. And the mayor signed my package and the whole 7-bill package
Right.
just a couple weeks ago.
Well, congratulations. What's next? What's the first thing that you go and do now that you successfully have the bill signed? What's the first thing that you do?
So it's not enough just to get the bills done, in my opinion. And I say this as someone who served as commissioner of several different city agencies. It's also about the implementation. We have to hold the administration's feet to the fire to make sure that they're implementing all the different aspects of these bills, because we have to make sure that this happens. So I have been meeting with the administration, have a really strong, productive working relationship with them that's focused on this package. And so meeting with them on a very routine basis to make sure that the rollout happens in a smooth and expeditious fashion.
I mean, we're past the elections now. Does it seem like the city is still moving in that direction of, just listen, we've had a guest on earlier today talking about raising minimum wage. We're trying to make it an easier city for those who are really under a lot of pressure, including young families. Do you still feel that the city is moving in that direction still in terms of providing access and making it easier for young families in this city?
It has to be one of our number one priorities. We right now have a city that is unaffordable for the vast majority of families. And so childcare is an enormous component of what families are paying for that is causing this rise in their cost of living. So by providing universal childcare, and I do want to say that this package of bills positions New York City as the first city in the country to implement universal childcare, it's so tremendously exciting. And that's exactly the kind of work that we have to be doing. It's why I ran for council. When I was campaigning for city council, I campaigned on this issue of universal childcare. We need to be providing this for our families. And to be clear, this also covers undocumented families, because it's not universal childcare if it's not covering undocumented families as well. So wanted to make sure to mention that.
It's a great win for you, and I think for all of New York. That's my own personal opinion. I want to thank you very much for coming on, and hopefully you can come back maybe in the next couple of months and tell us what else you're working on.
Thank you so much. I would love that. And thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. All right, stay with us. Today's verdict has so much more right after this.